All right, everyone, get ready for a deep dive that's sure to get those brain gears turning. We're talking biomimicry today.
Oh yeah, one of my favorite topics.
It's pretty much like saying, hey, nature, mind if we borrow some of your genius ideas, to solve our human problems?
Exactly, like how to make things stronger, more efficient.
More sustainable.
Yeah, all that good stuff. Plus, nature's been tackling these problems for like, what, millions of years?
Billions, even. So it only makes sense to peek at the answer key, right? We've got some incredible research and articles about biomimicry to dive into today. And believe me, you're going to want to take notes because it gets pretty wild.
Can't wait. I'm always blown away by how much we can learn from the natural world.
Me too. And the coolest part is that biomimicry isn't some newfangled concept. I mean, think about Leonardo da Vinci.
Oh, good point.
Dude was sketching bird wings centuries ago, trying to figure out how to get humans airborne.
Yeah, he was way ahead of his time. Guess you could say he was an early adopter of the whole biomimicry thing.
Totally. Okay, so enough of the intro. Let's jump into some real-world examples. This one blew my mind. The Japanese bullet train.
The Shinkansen, a marvel of engineering.
So sleek and fast. Well, get this. Its design was actually inspired by the beak of a kingfisher.
Wait, really? The bird?
Yeah, and it's not just about aesthetics, it's about pure functionality. See, the shape of a kingfisher's beak is like perfectly designed to slice through water with almost no splash. Super aerodynamic.
So they applied that same principle to the nose of the train.
Exactly, and guess what? It works. The train's quieter, more energy efficient, and can reach some crazy speeds, all thanks to a bird.
That's incredible. It really shows how biomimicry can lead to these amazing innovations, solutions that are both practical and sustainable. Speaking of sustainability, what about those self-cleaning surfaces? I've always wondered about those. They sound pretty futuristic.
Right, like something out of a sci-fi movie. But the inspiration is totally natural.
Let me guess, dot leaves. Some kind of special plant.
You got it. It's the lotus leaf. The surface has these tiny microscopic bumps that make it super water repellent. Like water just beads up and rolls right off, taking dirt and grime with it.
No way. So they're mimicking that texture to create surfaces that basically clean themselves. Less scrubbing, fewer chemicals.
That's the idea. Pretty neat, huh? It just goes to show you how much we can learn from nature if we just, pay attention.
Seriously, the potential is mind-blowing. And it's not just about practical applications. It's also about understanding the underlying principles. Why those designs work so well in nature.
Like those Namibian desert beetles that can pull water out of thin air.
Oh, yeah, those are amazing. They survive in one of the driest places on Earth. How do they do it? By collecting moisture from fog on their backs.
I know. It sounds impossible.
Right. Their backs have these tiny bumps that attract and condense water droplets, and researchers are actually using that knowledge to develop new ways to collect water in water-scarce areas, potentially helping millions of people.
I love these examples. It just gets me so fired up about biomimicry. It really feels like nature is handing us this instruction manual for, how to live more sustainably, how to innovate.
Totally. It's about shifting our mindset, instead of trying to conquer nature. What if we learned from it, worked with it? That's where the real magic happens.
Couldn't agree more. But let's be real, it can't all be sunshine and roses.
Yeah.
Biomimicry has its limitations too, right?
Oh, for sure. Nature's designs are incredibly complex. Replicating them perfectly, well, that's often a huge challenge.
I mean, I get the concept of mimicking a spider web or a gecko's foot.
Right, it sounds easy.
But actually putting it into practice.
It takes a ton of research, trial and error, and even then, sometimes we just can't match the elegance and efficiency of the natural world.
Yeah, makes you realize that we got to approach biomimicry with a healthy dose of humility.
Absolutely. Humility and respect. It's not about dominating nature. It's about learning from it and working with it.
And maybe, just maybe, picking up some good habits along the way, like not creating a ton of waste. Because, let's face it, nature's pretty good at recycling and running in closed loops.
That's a lesson we definitely need to learn.
Big time. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, but before we get too deep into the nitty-gritty of biomimicry's challenges, I think it's time to showcase some of its success stories.
The real-world applications that are already changing the game. I'm ready for some more bio-inspired marvels.
Buckle up, because we've got some seriously cool examples coming up right after this.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope you're ready for more, because we're about to dive into some incredible examples of biomimicry in action.
Yeah, before the break, we were talking about the challenges, like actually mimicking those complex natural designs. But now let's get inspired. Hit us with some of those biomimicry wins.
All right, well, how about this? Wind turbine blades inspired by humpback whale flippers.
Wait, what? Those massive whales, what do they have to do with wind turbines?
More than you might think. You see those bumpy ridges on their flippers? They're called tubercles, and they actually help the whales move through the water with incredible agility.
So they're not just for show.
Nope, not at all. Those tubercles reduce drag and increase lift. That's how humpbacks can make those crazy turns and breaches.
Huh. So by adding those, like, bumpy things to the wind turbine blades.
Exactly. Engineers figured out how to mimic those tubercles, and the result, more efficient energy generation and quieter turbines.
Wow, that's amazing. Cleaner energy and less noise pollution. Who knew whales held the key to better wind power?
It's pretty remarkable. Okay, ready for another one? This one's about building design.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Hit me.
What if we could design buildings that were naturally cool in the summer and warm in the winter, like using minimal energy?
Sign me up. How do we do that?
Well, take a look at termite mounds. Those little guys are masters of climate control.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Their mounds are always so perfectly temperature regulated.
Right. They've got this amazing system of tunnels and chambers that circulate air, keeping the temperature inside stable no matter how hot or cold it gets outside.
So architects are studying termite mounds.
Exactly. They're figuring out how to design buildings with passive ventilation systems inspired by those termite mounds.
That's brilliant. Less reliance on AC and heating, more natural temperature regulation. Love it.
It's a perfect example of how nature offers these elegant solutions. Okay, are you ready to hear about the gecko-inspired medical adhesive?
Oh yeah, that one was on my list for sure. Tell me everything.
All right, so you know how geckos can cling to pretty much any surface?
Yeah, even upside down. It's crazy.
Right. Well, their feet are covered in these microscopic hairs that create a sort of molecular bond with the surface. It's super strong.
So wait, are you telling me they're using gecko feet to, like, close up wounds?
Not exactly gecko feet, but scientists have managed to replicate the structure of those microscopic hairs.
To create a super strong adhesive.
Yes. And it's gentle enough to be used internally for surgery. Imagine replacing sutures and staples with a gecko-inspired adhesive.
That's incredible. Faster healing, less scarring.
Exactly. It's mind-blowing how these little creatures can inspire such huge advancements in medicine.
I know. Biomimicry never ceases to amaze me. We've talked about wind power, building design, even surgery. It seems like there's no limit to what we can learn from nature.
I agree, but remember, it's not just about blindly copying nature. It's about understanding the deeper principles at play.
Right, the why behind the how.
Exactly. It's about seeing the interconnectedness of everything, how systems work together, how nature has evolved these elegant solutions over millions of years.
Yeah, it's about shifting our perspective from, like, seeing ourselves as separate from nature to seeing ourselves as part of it.
And understanding that nature has already figured out a lot of the stuff we're still struggling with. We just need to learn how to listen.
I love that. Listening to nature. It's like nature's whispering these secrets to us if we just pay attention.
It really is.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've given our listeners a lot to think about today.
For sure. But before we wrap up, I want to leave everyone with, like, a final takeaway. Something they can apply in their own lives.
All right, welcome back to our final segment of this deep dive into biomimicry. We've covered a lot of ground, from the basics to some pretty mind-blowing examples. But now the question is, how do we take all this inspiration and turn it into action?
Yeah, how do we go from, like, being amazed by gecko feet to actually applying those principles in our own lives?
It starts with a shift in mindset, really, instead of seeing nature as something separate from us.
Or something we need to conquer.
Right, exactly. What if we saw it as a teacher? A mentor, even, a source of wisdom that we can tap into.
I love that. Nature as a mentor. It's like instead of always trying to reinvent the wheel, we can look to nature and say, hey, how did you solve this problem?
Exactly. Nature's been running these experiments for millions of years. So the next time you're facing a challenge, whether it's at work, at home,
Or even just in your, like, daily life.
take a moment to observe the natural world around you. Look for patterns, connections, solutions that nature has already come up with.
It's like instead of reaching for that quick fix, we pause and say, how would nature handle this?
And you might be surprised at what you discover. You might find inspiration for a new design, a new process, or even a whole new way of thinking.
I'm totally on board with this whole nature as a mentor idea.
Mm.
But what about concrete actions? Is there anything we can do to, like, support the biomimicry movement?
Yeah.
Besides, obviously, going outside and paying attention.
Oh, absolutely. We can all be more conscious consumers. Look for products and services that are designed with biomimicry in mind. companies that are committed to sustainability and a circular economy.
Yeah, putting our money where our mouth is, so to speak.
Exactly. And beyond that, there are so many amazing organizations and research initiatives out there that are pushing the boundaries of biomimicry. Get involved, learn more, spread the word.
It's like biomimicry is not just a science, it's a movement.
It's a philosophy, a way of life, even.
Yeah, a way of reconnecting with nature and recognizing that we're not separate from it.
And that by tapping into nature's wisdom, we can create a more sustainable, more harmonious future.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a challenge. Go out there and explore the world with what we like to call biomimicry eyes.
Love that. Biomimicry eyes.
Pay attention to the intricate designs you see in nature, the resilience of a forest, the efficiency of a beehive.
You might just discover some brilliant solutions hiding in plain sight.
Who knows what you'll find? Until next time, deep divers, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those biomimicry eyes wide open.